I want to say pole to the families and to tell them that they are in our prayers. Honorable Speaker, at the weekend I had the opportunity to meet some young women from the University of Nairobi under the auspices of the ODM Women League led by the President, Madam Beth Siengo, who is a member of this House. And I can tell you that even though Caesar, Phoebe CEO and Catherine Yamato have left us, there is a great, bright future for women leadership in this country. I met some very young, brilliant women like Rosalind Alionya, Rachel Kavita, Mary Letitia, and Kimberly Grace. And I am sure you followed those proceedings when they were speaking to the press. Although the press was a bit unkind and was trying to harass them, I have no doubt that the leadership of women leadership has a very bright future. Honorable Speaker, allow me to comment on the statement on disappearances and then on checking of inflammatory utterances. Honorable Speaker, the reason we insist that we need to build a country that works for all of us is that no one is safe until everybody is safe. You have heard from Nandi, you have heard from Marsabit, the senator for there, also saying that senior civil servants are also being disappeared. And this is why we must resolve this question for all of us. Honorable Speaker, lastly, in 2007, I was one of those young people who were saying one term to Kibaki because we wanted him to go home. And we voted to take Kibaki home, Honorable Speaker. We were very shocked when we were told that our vote does not matter, that someone sitting somewhere can actually alter the results at the ballot. Honorable Speaker, there is very irresponsible talk from leaders telling us that in 2027, if the votes for William Ruto will not be sufficient, they will steal for him. And the NCIC has just kept quiet. With that history of 2007, Honorable Speaker, the precursor of the violence was in the interference with the will of the people. And I want to join those who are saying, Honorable Speaker, because we've been told to wait for a democratic opportunity to remove the current government. If we exercise that democratic right and then you go and mess it up the way they're threatening to do, this country will be on fire like it was in 2007. And we don't fear saying it. So, Honorable Speaker, if the NCIC, the IEBC that has just recently been sworn in, cannot even summon these leaders, because as I understand the law on election offenses, you cannot be saying that.
Senator Cheruyot.
Mr. Speaker, two quick comments. Number one is on this issue.
Madam Speaker, not Mr. Speaker.
Apologies, Madam Speaker. I stand corrected. My apologies. Number one is on the statement by Senator Jones Mwaruma with regards to SHA. Madam Speaker, there's something untidy about how this provision for payment, either monthly or yearly, is being communicated particularly to the elderly people and those that live in the villages, Mr. Speaker. Over the weekend at a function, I was actually challenged by people who could not distinguish between what's the difference between monthly and yearly payment. Mr. Speaker, there is an assumption that everybody understands English and Kiswahili. That is not true. We live in a country, especially particularly those of us that represent rural counties, Madam Speaker, where we have the elderly who did not have the benefit of going to school, Madam Speaker. They too deserve access to that information. And therefore, I join myself in the comments by Senator Mwaruma that there needs to be clarity in that particular space. While me and you, who are salaried employees, Madam Speaker, will not face a challenge because this is deducted alongside our salaries, it's causing a lot of challenge to the ordinary citizens who have to pay either on a monthly, Madam Speaker, or yearly, and what provisions have been made. I know, for example, Madam Speaker, that SHA has actually provided even the opportunity that you can borrow funds, Madam Speaker, through Hustler Fund and end up paying for your monthly, your yearly contribution, so to speak. But that is not information that is available, Madam Speaker, to the people that I represent. And therefore, on that account, Mr. Speaker, I expect that the CEO will provide this information for citizens to be able to understand. Lastly, Madam Speaker, in their tabulation of how much each county government received in on-source revenue, I have seen governors from across the country include share contributions or compensation, rather, Madam Speaker, in the declaration. It will make more sense, Madam Speaker, if SHA gave us the information actually to know how much has it been compensated back to each county, so that we can tell our governors that when we passed this law, we included something called a Facility Improvement Fund. That money cannot be used for anything else other than to develop the hospitals for which that fund has been collected, Madam Speaker. And therefore, it will be important that when that statement is responded to, we get a breakdown of the compensation that has gone to each of the 47 counties in the last 7 months that SHA has been operational. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, it is really disheartening that we have reduced the health of people into a mechanism of extracting money from the poorest of the poor. SHIF is an extraction mechanism for stealing from the poor, because if we really wanted universal health care, we would begin by fixing public hospitals. We have not done that. Instead, we are forcing people who otherwise would have enjoyed cover to pay annually when they don't have capacity. People should be allowed to pay according to their capacity. They would have to enjoy a cover that is given by the state. But all said and done, Madam Speaker, the SHIF arrangement is an extortion mechanism, and that's why they are prioritizing to get as much money as they can from the Kenyan citizen. And that needs to be stopped, so that if the issue is to give people health care, let us fix the health system, let us get hospitals working, let us get the doctors in public hospitals, and let us run universal health care on public hospitals. Running universal health care on private hospitals is opening an avenue for looting from state coffers. So, Madam Speaker, I support this motion, and I pray that when the committee looks at it, it does a holistic job of looking at the entire architecture of universal health care, including answering the question whether you can credibly run universal health care on private hospitals. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Omutata. Senator Okenyuri Esther.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to comment on the statement by Senator Catherine Muma on unchecked inflammatory utterances by influential public figures. Madam Speaker, we cannot legislate on morality, because I think such kind of utterances has to do with behavior, Madam Speaker. Unfortunately, the Kenyan populace cheers such kind of utterances. So what can we actually do in regard to the statement by Senator Muma? This is actually calling to the attention of all of us to actually check on the culture we have, Madam Speaker, because when you actually even observe political podiums, the nastiest, the most nasty statement is what people cheer. And what our young people learning, they're just picking up from what they see their leaders do. So I think before Senator Muma wants the committee to look into this, as leaders, we need to call ourselves into and just look at what examples we are showing to the young people, to the youth of this country, to the women, and any other person who's expecting direction from we as leaders. We have actually disappointed them, Madam Speaker. So in as much as Senator Muma is concerned with this behavior, it is a challenge on we as leaders to look at how we change the culture and improve behavior. Madam Speaker, I also wish to comment on the statement by Senator Hezena on influx of traders to Samburu. I hope she was trying to address about trade imbalance. That being a concern, the best way to look at it is to look at what is actually most pressing, not restricting movement of those traders, Madam Speaker, because as a sponsor of the street vendors bill, that is not one way of protecting small-scale traders and also protecting the hassles people engage in. So there is a better way of addressing the trade imbalance so that both counties in Samburu and those not in Samburu can benefit from this exchange that is happening. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Esi. Senator Osotsi Godfrey Atieno. Next order.
Order number 16, motion, consideration of the National Assembly amendments to the Startup Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2022.
Person Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism to move the motion. That's you are holding forth.
Yeah. The Vice
Senator
Chairperson.
Essie, proceed as the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm holding forth for the Chair. I'm the Vice Chairperson of that committee. And Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the National Assembly amendments to the Startup Bill, that is Senate Bills number 14 of 2022, be now considered. Briefly, Madam Speaker, the Startup Bill actually seeks to provide a framework to encourage growth, sustainable technological development, new entrepreneurship, employment, and creating a more favorable environment for innovation and attract Kenyan talents and capital. I also wish to thank my sister, Senator Christo Asige, for this bill. And after the bill was passed by the Senate, that is on the 21st of February 2024, the bill was transmitted to our sister house as required by the Constitution. The Committee on Trade that I sit in the National Assembly considered this bill and came up with 51 amendments to the bill. Our committee reviewed the amendments made by the National Assembly and agreed with the 25 amendments, but rejected 26 amendments. Madam Speaker, the amendments by the National Assembly that the committee adopted enriched this bill further, and the committee saw no need in dropping them. Madam Speaker, allow me to also comment on the amendments that the committee rejected. The committee noted that the National Assembly had actually sidelined county governments in this bill. They had removed counties from participating in any role. An example is deleting the definitions of CEC or county executive member. The committee rejected deletion of this because deleting the role of the CEC as it is would make implementation at the county level impossible. So under clause 4 of this bill, the National Assembly deleted the role of the agency and the county governments and replaced it with the role of agency and the estate in implementation of the Act number 4. So our committee rejected this proposal and reinstated the functions of the county government. Having deleted clause 4, which related to the functions of the county governments, the National Assembly deleted clause 5, whose reference is incubation programs and the role of national and county governments play. So our committee also rejected this proposal and resolved that provision in respect of the role of county governments be reinstated and the incubation programs should be provided for under this bill. The committee further observed that since startups operate within both the national and county government economies, a coordinated approach is necessary to balance national policies with local. Okay. So, Madam Speaker, the National Assembly also wanted to delete the registrar of startups, whose responsibility was to register startups and replace with a startup committee. The committee resolved to restore the registrar of startups because the committee proposed by the National Assembly had reduced the function in comparison to the registrar of startups. Madam Speaker, I therefore ask members to read this report and adopt as presented by the Committee of Trade, Industrialization and Tourism. Madam Speaker, I move and request the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot, to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hesio Kenyuri, Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second this motion by the Vice Chairperson of the Trade Committee. The Startup Bill is a very important bill. This bill has gone full cycle now because we attempted to conclude on it last time, but unfortunately, our colleagues in the sister house, Madam Speaker, did not agree with many of the provisions that we had put in at that particular time. I am at least at this point impressed, Madam Speaker, that they have considered it, albeit with amendments that many of us will find very difficult to agree to. And therefore, it is on that basis, Madam Speaker, that we are moving this motion to reject or to consider. The parliamentary language is consider. But in true sense, what we are doing is that we are rejecting the amendments, quite a number of the amendments from the National Assembly, because our perspective and our view to issues as a House, Madam Speaker, diametrically differs with how our colleagues from the sister House look at things. And that's the beauty of our democracy, that's the beauty of a bicameral parliament, Madam Speaker. We serve to protect the interest of county governments, Madam Speaker. And any time somebody does any amendment to any law that is to the disadvantage of county governments, we find it very difficult. I personally, Madam Speaker, will never support such a bill, because I know for a fact that having